to get ready for an event or something and you're not in shape, right? So that's why, biohacking has such a bad connotation.
So now also this person wants to be active, maintain the same energy levels that they currently have, and also obviously lose that weight and look a little bit better, and make sure that they're sort of more healthy in the long run.
Wearables are not for everybody. Some people get overwhelmed by data.
Go off chapatis or go everything off carbs or go on a crash diet or something, but that's not going to be something that they can do over a longer period of time.
Even when you're working with a coach, the coach doesn't know everything.
What you believe people should be looking at doing to manage their weight, especially in India currently?
Maybe I tell him that after 3 months when you're coming to me, I want you to use the stairs instead of a lift.
Going out for drinks every other day, you're not going to be able to lose that kind of weight.
Hi everyone, welcome back to the Wellness Blueprint. This is a podcast by the Wellness Co, where we discuss everything related to the world of wellness, science-backed and natural as well. Today we're joined by Dr. Garima, who is our wellness expert here at the Wellness Co, as well as Joel, who is a endurance athlete, a physical trainer himself, and also the co-founder of Nox. So we're very excited to sort of dive into the space of addressing weight management and how that sort of looks in today's day and age. And how that's also sort of changed over the last few years, which obviously it has done quite a bit. So I just wanted to get some insights, first of all, from you, Joel, as to what you believe people should be looking at doing to manage their weight, especially in India currently.
The first thing you need to do is figure out what you're eating. Like, so many of us are not even realizing what we eat through the day. Like if I ask somebody to audit what they eat, they'll start realizing they're eating so much or so little, and without putting any thought to it, like mindless eating while watching TV and all of those things. So once you have a baseline, even if you're eating out, like I feel if you look at a trend of say a weekly or like every 2 weeks or a whole month, you're following the same pattern over and over again. Like if you're traveling frequently. If you're say eating out twice a week, that'll be like throughout the year basically. So now once you found your pattern, you found how many calories you have or what kind of food you have. And that's your starting point, right? So now if you want to increase your weight, you want to eat more. If you want to decrease your weight, you want to eat less. That's one step. The second step is with the audit, you start figuring out what are the kind of foods you're eating, right? Whereas calorie in, calorie out really works for your weight loss, weight management. But there's another aspect to things, right? If you're eating something that is increasing inflammation or increasing your recovery demands, that might hinder your metabolism through mitochondrial deficiencies or dysfunctions. So you start addressing those also. Like now there are different schools of thought. Some people might just go in for calories in, calories out, but they'll also go a long way. But at some point they'll have to look at the quality of food that they're eating, basically.
So now let's say that we've got this part of our diet and our nutrition sorted, and over the course of the next 6 to 8 months, someone started exercising, managing their diet, and saw great results. There is a stat that, generally after achieving that sort of goal that people have in their minds, over the next year to 3 years, you sort of put that weight back on and it just goes away. So what would you say, Dr. Garima, in this instance, how do people sort of take this to a higher level and make sure that they're getting sustained results?
Yes. So I think here what is very important is that every effort that you're making in the direction of weight loss or let's say being a fitter version of yourself, it has to be extremely strategic and it has to be very sustainable or doable. I can tell a person to, just go off chapatis or go everything off carbs or go on a crash diet or something, but that's not going to be something that they can do over a longer period of time. So any effort that you make should be practical enough for you to sustain over a longer period of time and consistently done. There are basically 4 pillars that we need to look into. Number 1 is diagnostics. I can't improve what I cannot measure. So you can work with diagnostics which are as I would say easy to perform as a functional test to something that's a little more precise, such as a body composition analysis, because this is going to really help you make very informed decisions into giving fitness recommendations to a person based on their fat percentage or your muscle percentage or the amount of water or the protein that they have in their body. We can work with identifying micronutrient deficiencies in terms with oligoscan, or we can also work with nutrition or exercise that's very I would say aligned with their genetic predispositions with our Gene Plus panel. So the first key is always diagnostics, because you want to start the ladder at some point. The second thing, as Joel mentioned very rightly, is nutrition. You have to fuel your body correctly, whether you want to work with carb loading or you want to work with more proteins or you want to reduce fat. All this is extremely informed in terms of what your diagnostic reports are showing. Even your blood work goes a very long way for you to identify certain inflammatory parameters in your blood markers, and then reducing certain agents in your food or identifying your own triggers. And this is why it needs to be extremely personalized. The third thing is exercising. We've always stressed on starting very low and going up slowly so that you're targeting the right muscles, you're keeping your biomechanics in position, and then you're trying to increase the weights, or you're increasing the intensity, you're increasing the duration or the repetitions, and however you're going to approach it. And the fourth and often overlooked pillar is going to be recovery. Because at the end of the day, it all comes down to how your body is compiling everything and putting it into place. Your muscles will not regenerate if you're not having enough rest. Your sleep is going to determine how you're going to take up all the benefits of that particular routine or nutrition, or whether you're going to get injured or stay sore for a long period of time. So these four things have to be thoroughly supervised so that in the long run, every decision that you've made, every effort that you've put in reducing your weight or becoming fitter has stayed with you, and it's more sustainable and long lasting.
Right, wonderful. Thank you so much for that. That was very informative. So, Joel, I think moving forward, what I want to do is make this a little more personal for our viewers. What I'd like to do is give you an example of a body type. So, let's take a 38-year-old male, about my height, 6'1", 6'2", and the weight is about 120 kgs. And this person is looking to bring that down to about around the 98 to 100 mark. So lose about 20 to 22 kgs, right? So now also this person wants to be active, maintain the same energy levels that they currently have, and also obviously lose that weight and look a little bit better, and make sure that they're sort of more healthy in the long run. How would you say that this person should go about tackling this, and what should the timeline be? Because obviously you don't want to lose this weight in, let's say, 6 months and sort of lose all your muscle mass and lose all your strength as well. So how would you go about it?
Yes, somebody who's at say 120 kilos at your height is already obese, right? So is whatever protocol we start to follow, his energy levels are bound to get better. But there's a short duration of time where it takes some certain kind of adaptation because you're not used to it. Like we keep talking about homeostasis, the body likes to stay how it is. Even if it's bad, it wants to stay bad, because it's been functioning in a certain way for a very long time. So we first audit that person's day, because it's just not exercise and food. It's about what kind of environment that person stays in. Like a lot of times I have to tell people, if you want to make a lifestyle change, you might have to ditch a few friends of yours, right? Because if the idea of you hanging out is going out for drinks every other day, you're not going to be able to lose that kind of weight. So you want to first audit how the day looks like. And first we start making small changes. Like the small changes could be, maybe add in some walks. If a person is sedentary, already not used to working out, because if I ask him to suddenly go to the gym, it seems very cumbersome, right? Because he's had no experience of an exercise, like deliberate exercise. So we start with walks. Now that walks can become, say, an hour long over a period of certain time. And then it could translate into a half an hour of gym work, right? So you basically start with something easy. You make that easy a little bit hard, then move into something harder, but reduce the duration and keep doing this over and over again. So that's how you tackle the exercise bit. Now the timeline may vary person to person. Somebody might come to you and say, I am ready to give 6 hours a day to whatever you say. Somebody might say, I just have half an hour, right? Somebody might have a wedding to come, so they'll probably prep better. Somebody might just have had a heart attack. They'll do everything you say, right? So the timelines will vary depending upon your motivation levels and discipline levels primarily, because at the end of the day, the person is same. Now, since the exercise bit is sorted, like one important thing with somebody who's obese is to check their blood work for, say, nutritional deficiencies, right? Because once you fix those nutritional deficiencies, which is easy by, supplementation or say IV in case of there's absorption issues and all of those, because obviously there are some mitochondrial deficiencies in place here. So that will ramp up the metabolism a little bit, and that will just aid and accelerate that process. Now, then you audit what kind of food they eat. And I usually don't like to change the whole diet pattern completely unless somebody's coming and say, I'm going to do this in a 3-month thing. But Even if you've seen the greatest loser, the American show,
Yes.
where people are about to win, like the motivation is about $1 million or something. If I don't remember, but also you've been trained by the best trainers in the world. Like statistics are there over a few years. They put on 70% of the weight back, and they're losing like 100 pounds, like whatever, 40, 50 kilos on average. So they're gaining back 30 kilos. It's just that the motivation went, right? So even if you're doing all the best things, the motivation and dedication has to last. So you want to make small changes that you can keep. Sometimes you can draw a line. Like for example, if I try to go 0 to 100, I fail, right? I come back to 0. But what if I went 0 to 10, then I went to 20, then I went to 30, then I went to 40, and I realized this is it. I can't do anything more, at least right now. So I stay to 40. So it's better than coming back to 0. So I generally like to fix the diet with breakfast, right? So front load a lot of protein, because like you've woken up. This For most people, the stresses of the day are yet to come, right? So just do some breathing exercises, get your cortisol low, and all of those things, and have like a mindful breakfast, high in protein. So I'd fix the breakfast first, and then worry about the other meals later, and then we keep fixing the other meals later, and after these 3 meals are fixed, then we can look at timing of things, intermittent fasting, and all of those things. So yeah, blood work to check nutritional deficiencies, and like I think this will get you to your 20 kilos, maybe 30 kilos, just by doing this stuff without even going into rest of the stuff. But one main thing is sleep. If somebody's not sleeping, all of those things are not going to affect the same way. There will be a percentage of reduction of the effectiveness of diet, nutrition, sleep, exercise, because of sleep.
Right. So, I mean, as you said, and very rightly so, obviously checking people's blood markers and metrics and also looking at their diet plan is very heavily personalized. When it comes to the actual exercise routine and what these people will do over the course of, let's say, the following 4 to 5 years to maintain what they have achieved, how personalized does that become? And Dr. Garma, how would you say that that's personalized or tailor-made for a specific person? Because as we know, people respond differently to different workout plans.
Exercise has to be just as personalized as your nutrition is, because of course nutrition is, you are what you eat. You're eating at least 3 to 5 times in a day, but exercise is going to largely determine how your muscles are getting activated, how you're going to sit in such a certain posture, how you're going to be walking around, and more importantly, if you're on a weight loss journey and you're extremely ready to work out, how prone are you to getting injured? So for example, taking your case itself, that if you've mentioned a 128 kg guy, the first thing is to identify their barriers. A lot of people have a barrier such as, I'm not motivated enough, or I'm extremely busy, or I'm traveling. But a lot of people will also have a barrier like, every time I work out, I've tried that before, but my back starts hurting, or every time I work out, my knee starts hurting a lot. And you expect that from a person who's overweight or obese. So identifying certain exercise patterns that they have already done before, which is a very integral part of history taking, looking at what all parameters have actually held them back or stopped them from progressing or even sustaining or being consistent in their routine, becomes very important. And once you have penned all of these things down, you have a plan right in front of you then and there. If I know that, let's say, stair climbing or squatting becomes difficult for this person, I may not recommend him a lifestyle change of using the stairs right away. Maybe I tell him that after 3 months when you're coming to me, I want you to use the stairs instead of a lift. But the first thing I want to work on is correcting any biomechanical imbalance there, which is why supervised protocols are very handy, because here there's a one-on-one session. I know what is going to trigger a pain. I know which muscle is going to get overloaded. I know how this person can mess up a biomechanical pose as well. And based on that, you can actually guide them to a better pattern. So usually when a person comes, I love to draw them a triangle that has nutrition, of course, on the top, because that's going to govern every change that you see in your body. Nutrition has to be personalized, as Joel mentioned. So you can have a gene-based nutrition or a deficiency-based nutrition, an anti-inflammatory nutrition, recovery-based nutrition, so on and so forth. Even postpartum for a lot of women who are here to lose weight with us. The second thing is exercise. In exercise, you have to follow a fit principle that sort of lays out a foundation of how this person is going to progress over a period of time. So how often do I want them to see during a week? What do I want them to do when they're not coming to me? What is the intensity that I want to work with? A person who's obese, I'm expecting that they're going to have poor cardiovascular endurance. So I don't want to basically increase their heart rate to a level that they get scared of working out the next time. So I want to work in a certain zone of mild to moderate intensity where I'm not going beyond 60 to 70% of their HR max. I want to work with a certain type of exercise. Let's say that I lay out that, right now you're not very ready for endurance, so I'm going to do it in bits. We're going to do strength training, let's say for your upper body, then I'm going to add a little bit of endurance workout there, then we're going to go lower body and then add a little bit of endurance, so that you have a cyclic pattern wherein you're hitting all your targets. You're not leaving anything behind, but you're also not extremely tired, because this is a very important factor I see in people who are obese. They've had certain barriers. They know that they've tried things in the past. Most people have, and then still they've not been able to achieve it. If I give them something too vigorous and they get sore, they have an 80% dropout rate then and there. They will not come back. And they will not exercise. The next time, after another year of new year, new me, they might go to somebody else and try out the same cycle again. So this also becomes very important. The time, how much time, as you mentioned, do I want them to dedicate to workout? Let's say that they start with 10 minutes, 15 minutes. Just do it because you have to get there and you have to get started. And then you want to increment it gradually. And the last component of this triangle is assistive aid. This assistive aid is chosen based on their biology. If you're inflamed, I might work with something like a whole body cryotherapy. If you have high cortisol levels, I want to work with something like a far infrared sauna to reduce this. And I use it a lot with women. If you have a lot of poor healing or repair mechanisms in the body, I want to work with hyperbaric oxygen. If you have poor metabolism, I want to work with a contrast therapy where I start with the sauna and then I end with the cryo, or I want to work with like a fat burner IV that has good amount of metabolizers. If you are a person who, let's say, has extremely poor dietary patterns, you eat a lot outside or you don't eat the right kinds of food or you have a lot of allergies or something, I might want to work with an IV therapy to ensure that you don't have micronutrient deficiencies or something. So it's extremely tailor-made, and personalization goes the longest way when it comes to people because they relate to it, it's relevant to them, and that's the only way they'll want to stick to their goals.
And I think that's a perfect segue into my next question, because this is sort of where I was wanting to come to as well. We all know the importance of maintaining one's nutrition and maintaining one's exercise plans and routines and things like that. But obviously, in today's day and age, when we have a space like this, and you have all of these therapies on offer, Joel, I wanted to sort of ask you, what are your thoughts on the sort of marriage and the concept of what it is that we see in traditional ways, which is exercise and nutrition, plus supplementing that with a space like this, doing a hyperbaric or a cryotherapy or a IV therapy, for example?
So I think it goes hand in hand. It really helps. It's like supplements, right? But it has to supplement your lifestyle. You can't not be sleeping, drinking out, and then hoping that these things, even if you're drinking out, this can be a sort of a fix if you want to get ready for an event or something and you're not in shape, right? So that's why, biohacking has such a bad connotation. Like, people feel that you can hack your way through health through this, but that's far from the reality. You can do it in certain cases, but over a long period of time, if all of the other stuff is sorted, that's when, a red light therapy could really help boost your collagen production. But there are certain things that have to be working properly for the red light therapy to also work, So like cryotherapy again, it's great for inflammation, it's great for recovery. But if you're already highly stressed, it's going to have a negative impact on you. So it's not that that's why it's important for somebody to consult an expert, right, or be able to track your data. Like I've been tracking my, say, stress levels on Whoop and the rings and stuff like that, and I realized the cryo was sort of negatively impacting my recovery. And then I realized I was doing cryo on the day where I do a long run, then take cryo, then go do a workout, so that I felt good while working out. But overall on the day, my even the cryo is actually stress on the body. It makes you just more resilient. But stress plus stress plus stress, and the body doesn't plus it, it multiplies it. So you have to be very careful of what protocols you're choosing. They're very beneficial, but at the same time, unless you have expert guidance, you could really mess it up, and then you could say these things don't work.
Right, absolutely. And I think also today with the amount of wearables that we have access to, like the Whoop or a Ring, for example, or even a CGM patch, which can actually tell you your exact insulin levels minute to minute, right? There's a lot of things that people can track now, and sort of that also I think helps tailor people's diet and exercise. I wanted to ask the both of you how you feel one can incorporate these wearables into sort of everyday life and make sure that that's something that they can use very efficiently towards weight loss.
Like I feel wearables are not for everybody because some people get overwhelmed by data. If you're one of those, just don't use it. Right. Because I might see my resting heart rate and HRV data, and if it's not good, I could have a placebo effect and could ruin the rest of my day. Whereas if I didn't see it, I could have had a better day. So that's why you have to take it with a pinch of salt, and you have to understand what data means to be able to follow it. Like just blindly following it does also really not help. So that's the only one thing. But like if you're okay with data, nothing like it. Like you can experiment your way through figuring out what you actually need. Like even when you're working with the coach doesn't know everything. He's sort of experimenting. Like he'll ask you to eat certain things. If it works, then he continues. If it doesn't, he changes. For example, I learned long back. Like I used to feel good if I didn't have dinner, and I used to wake up with more energy. And when the wearables came in, it just proved it. So now it just makes a decision easier. Like if like there's some snacks here, and if this was night, I wouldn't eat it because I know it's going to negatively impact my sleep, right? So that really, so those data points really helped me. Like I told you, it was the data that helped me realize that I was doing the cryo wrong. Like I should have done it on rest days, or maybe 2 days after a strenuous activity of like a marathon run, or not on the same day. So data really helps to figure out what works for you, because for Garima and me, even if we work out the same, eat the same, I might be having like a tough time at work or a tough time at family that could increase my recovery demands or increase my strain, and because of that, something that is helping her might be detrimental to me.
Absolutely.
Yeah, makes sense completely. I think that's a very good bit of insight that you gave us on the wearables part, actually, because that's something that I experienced myself personally. I used to wear the Whoop for quite a while, probably about a year ago or so, and there would be days where I would wake up and the recovery's in the red, let's say 10% or 15% or whatever it might be, and then that plays on your mind, saying that, okay, now basically your day is sort of ruined because you shouldn't really be doing anything because your body's not ready for it, when in fact I could have actually gone out and done something. So sometimes I think you're absolutely right. It should take with a pinch of salt, and it shouldn't let you just decide exactly how your day should go. But again, like you rightly said, there are definitely benefits to it as well.
And one thing I'd like to add here is that when you're wearing any wearable, it's very important to actually train the other person as to what this data means, why is it important or relevant for them, and how important it is for them to relay that information back to me. I'll give you an extremely simple example. I've had a couple of clients who keep a track of their stress levels, and every now and then, whenever they feel that, their stress levels have gone off the charts or something, they drop a text and they'd be like, what should we be doing today? And my recommendations would vary from suggesting them a therapy here at the Wellness Co, or maybe a nutrition guidance, or just recommending them to get more sleep or take a supplement like a creatine or something, depending on what they've done the previous day or the same day to actually increase that. So I genuinely feel that when the information or the data you're getting, you're aware about it, and you know that these are all parameters that you can always improve on, and you relay that information to an expert. They can actually guide you in a very strategic manner as to what all you can do to manage that, or just curb that, or avoid that the next time.
So yeah, I think we've covered a lot in terms of nutrition, diagnostics, exercise plans, wearables, and things like that. My one question to you, Joel, as sort of a parting thought, is how does one stay consistent with all of these things over the course of a lifetime, for example?
So whenever a client asks me, should I have creatine, or should I have this, or should I start doing this, I said, are you willing to do this for the rest of your life? Yeah. The answer is yes, you do it. So I think that's a good way to always ask if I should start going for cryotherapy. Am I going to do it for the rest of my life? Yes, then do it, because whatever benefits you're going to get from doing something, when you stop doing it, they're going to go away, right? So don't get into it if you feel you can't do it. Yes, there'll be phases in life where you'll be busy and stuff, but overall you should feel there's something you can do for the rest of your life. Can I work out for half an hour every day for the rest of my life. Yes, so do it. Like, can I work out for 4 hours every day? No, so don't do it. Right? Can I train for a marathon right now for the next 2 years? I think I can, and that's why I'm doing it. Like, if I couldn't, I wouldn't have done it.
Yeah, so I think thank you so much to the both of you for joining us on this very insightful podcast. We've come away with a lot of information today in terms of how one can sort of access sustainable weight loss. I think the most important thing to sort of answer is a question to yourself, which is basically asking yourself, are you ready for this? And if you are, then you definitely will go through with it. And yeah, if you just follow some of the insights that we got here today as to how you can do this in a sustainable manner, and do it over the course of a lifetime or for however long you feel that you need to be doing it, then please feel free to come back to this podcast and take this information and use it how you'd like.